Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Neffit. Today our special guest today is a lovely couple that we've known, I've known one of them for a long time and the other one we got to meet around when I moved out here. So welcome them in.
Hi everyone, my name is Isabel.
Hi there y'all, my name is Junior. Pleasure to meet y'all.
We're here for the weekend.
And we're very happy to be here. We are excited to sit down and talk with our lovely friends over here and have a good time.
Yeah.
Hopefully some laughs along the way.
Awesome. Well, we enjoy having you guys here and we appreciate you guys taking the time of your busy weeks and busy schedules because I know it got pretty hectic now with the little one. So we appreciate you guys spending the time and the weekend with us, to be honest.
So tell us, how did you guys meet? You know, where did it start?
We met at a grocery store.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm. That's where we met.
That's the story we're going with?
Yeah, that's the story we're going with. Did we not meet at the grocery store?
No, we did not.
Okay, we met in person at the grocery store.
You guys met at Hullabaloo, but you didn't know you did.
Yeah, a long
Sure,
time ago.
if you want to go there. No, we met on Tinder. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we did. It was the digital age of like Tinder was popping around that time.
I'm trying to make it sound like it was more than what it was. It was fucking Tinder. We were bored as hell and we hit each other up.
Yeah, that was basically what happened. But
How did he evolve from there?
Our first date was the grocery store.
well, like, okay, so first things first was like, I had to hit her with a smooth line. She was like real into reading. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
You remember like you
Yeah,
liked
you asked
reading?
me what I was reading.
Yeah, and I was like, would you like to, I can't remember exactly. It was something
You
along
tried
the
to play something.
Yeah, it was like a smooth line on some kind of
But it
like,
was
I'm
like
an
a
open book, why
cheesy-
don't you read
yeah,
me?
it was like a cheesy line. Yeah, he did. But that's how I got me because I was like, this motherfucker's stupid. But like a good stupid.
And so, and then after that, yeah, and then after that, she's just like, I will say like her texting was like
Dry as hell.
worst texting ever.
One wording, yes.
Yeah, and it was like 12,
But he kept
12
texting.
hours later, like 12 hours later, and Yope was, I mean,
Was everything abbreviated too? Or?
no, not yet. Like, it wasn't as bad as her texting is now
Now you
nowadays.
can't even understand what I'm saying.
I have to like
if
double
I text
read.
you back.
So, yeah, like at that time, like I'd wait like 24 to 12 hours like for a text back, and was, I mean, dry phone as fuck. So I'd like, I'd reply and be like, yeah, like so and so. But yeah, our first date ended up being going to the grocery store. Just like she picked me up from the gym, and we went to the
Picked
grocery.
you up?
She picked me up.
I wasn't gonna let someone drive me. That's scary. No, that is
Okay.
scary. Like if
Okay,
you're
okay,
a girl,
explain,
that's kind
yeah.
of scary.
First
Like,
time meeting.
Yeah, I was at
Yeah,
the gym.
you don't want to not have a vehicle to escape meeting someone.
Yeah, that's smart.
Were you
smart.
working at
She
the
did think
escape
about
room
it
at that
very
time?
thoroughly.
Huh?
Were you working at the escape room at that time?
I probably was.
That's why she thought like that, bro.
She did, bro.
Escape room?
I think
Oh my
I
God.
might have told Alexis where I was too. Like, cause you just never know. You know, you might have abducted me. You might have stole me.
I didn't want to see you at that time. I probably would have put you back knowing what I know now.
Knowing what you know now.
Just kidding.
You did say that last time.
I'm just kidding. No, it was like we went to a grocery shop, did our grocerying. It was real chill.
And honestly, I recommend going grocery shopping for a first date.
You get to
It's
see what
really
they like.
chill. You get to see what you like. And if you don't like the person, you can just go on your
You see
way.
a
You've
lot
all
about-
got your chores done.
He could have taken an Uber.
And
yeah.
you see a lot about what goes into their like basket, and then you start asking a lot of questions like,
Yeah, I learned that he was self-conscious about his weight.
yeah. And then I learned she didn't eat.
Hey, that's a good one for you guys out there trying to find someone or going on a first date. Hey, grocery store.
Try it. Yeah. I
Alright, so
recommend it.
I was gonna say, going back to it though, you guys are not from College Station. No. So like, Junior, Bell, share a little bit about how you guys got here, kind of like your background. How did you guys end up in College
Well, we'll
Station?
start with Junior and then
Yeah.
Bell because they're different sides, right?
Yeah. So I came from Mahia, which is, most people like, I mention it. Yeah, Mexia, first things first. And I always get the Dairy Queen joke. I've heard it like 10 times and I still don't understand it. I just laugh with people because sure, whatever. Yeah, it's a Dairy Queen joke. I don't even know it, but there's a Dairy Queen joke out there for y'all out there. Y'all probably understand it more than I do.
Yeah, there's always a Dairy Queen in a small town, Texas. Yeah, I think so. I was like, wait, I think I know this.
Something, I don't know. I don't understand.
So they use y'all for a commercial or what?
Nah.
Do you know what they're in? Do you know what they're in though?
What did you say? A small town in Texas? Man.
Hey, you guys see me on the next commercial, by the way. Dairy Queen. I'll
If you
be happy
don't
to
know what
sponsor you.
Mahia is, you can watch, what's the documentary?
Waco?
No, the Duck.
Oh, the Anna Nicole Smith one?
There you go. You'll learn
We
what
are
it
famous
is.
for Anna Nicole Smith. If
She's
you don't
from there?
know, look it up. Well, nowadays in Texas, you can't see any porn nowadays, so it's all blocked. Thanks, Governor Abbott. Thank you for that. Anyways, yeah, that's where I'm from, Mahia. It's population probably like 11,000, 12,000 people, and very, diverse community. I grew up with like a lot of Latinos, of course, white people, black people, predominantly like a lot of Hispanics. At least when I graduated, a lot of Hispanics, and yeah, I mean, graduated with a class of like 118, 112, somewhere around there. So
112.
yeah, around there or so. And I mean, I knew everybody in that graduating class. There wasn't a soul that I knew, and I mean, you knew every gossip that was around town. Like,
What was the town like? Is it more like farmlands? Is it more?
Rural.
Yeah, very rural. I'll say that. We weren't. I mean, the closest big town that we had was either Corsicana or Waco, and usually like we went to Waco for like fun. Like
That's about what, like an hour drive?
45 minutes or so.
It reminded me of the joke that Eric said, because Eric's from Bremont, and his dad met a famous country singer, and he's like, "Hey, where are you from?" And he's like, "Oh, just south of Kasi." But Kasi is also really small. See, somebody gets it. So if you're from that area, you get it. Which like
you gotta
two of
name
you
a
guys.
bigger town next to you.
But Kasi is also small.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that's where I grew up, and I loved it. I remember I was actually talking to one of my best friends from back home the other day, and we were just reminiscing. Like, I would redo my childhood all over again, 100%. Like, Mahia is.
What would you do differently?
There's not a lot, man. Like, I was like talking with him, and.
So you would want to do a new childhood somewhere else? Is that what you're saying?
He's saying that he would.
Like, I would.
He would live it again.
I would love to.
He would relive it again.
Yeah, I would relive it. Like, there's just so many like great memories I have, and like with my friends growing up, and like, I don't know, like. People talking about, oh, high school is one of the worst experiences of my life. Like, I loved high school.
I think we had a lot.
I had a lot of fun, like, in high school.
We had a lot of crazy fun in high school.
I'm indifferent. But,
Like that, I'm just
but like,
kidding.
I didn't hate my experience. I'm just indifferent. Like, it's
But
just,
would you go back and relive it?
no.
I wouldn't relive it, but I had fun while I was there.
I'd relive it.
Yeah,
I liked high school.
Like, I mean, I loved it. Like,
I was never in high school, to be honest. Like, half
I
the
know,
time,
because I was
so.
like, you weren't there.
He's like, what's high school?
After
remember-
sophomore year, I feel like you were out.
I remember the snakes. I remember the chickens. I remember everything
The
else.
riots.
Dude, I was in band. We had
Which is why they liked it. They're little band nerds.
And to me, I'm
Hey,
like,
man,
whatever.
I love you
I did
nerds.
my freshman year. Yeah. Hey, for all the nerds out there, you make it in life. I
So
promise
were you in any sports or anything like that?
Yeah,
Band?
I did everything, honestly. Like, at one
Oh,
point
you
or
kind of
another.
had to, right? Because you're.
I mean, we're a small town. Like, I grew up. You got to find some kind of entertainment. But I did it all at one point or another. Like, I was not a fan of baseball. I got a black eye from baseball, so I gave up after freshman year. Did track. They put us in the 2 miles all the time. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's a theme somewhere, but like Hispanics always get put in the long distance. I don't know why.
They know how to run.
Yeah, like keep fucking
Run, swim,
I was like,
jump
oh,
over a
man.
fence.
So I was not a big fan of running long distances. So I was like, I did track for a little bit, but my sports that I really love doing is like, for me, soccer was a big one. I did it all 4 years, loved every minute of it. I did football 4 years, but tiny guy playing like every position that you can imagine besides O-line and defensive line. I don't think I would have done very well on that, but I mean, football was fun. Football was a lot of fun. I didn't have the body for it. And yeah, I ended up getting a lot of highlight reels on other people's highlight reels. So I ended up getting smushed over quite a bit, but I love
You were
it.
in highlight reels, but they weren't your highlight
Yeah, they
reels.
weren't my highlight reels. They were other people's highlight reels. But I had a lot of fun. I think it was always like more just because like the people who I hung around with was what made it fun, and like everything around like soccer season was like, I think like I remember the games we played, but I think I remember more like our bus rides home and just like Dude, we used to get blown out like 13-0, 12-0. Like my freshman year.
They're like, we know we're going to lose.
Yes.
Nobody was sad.
But nobody was sad on the way home. We were like laughing the entire ride
Did anybody
home.
score that one game? Everybody's like, hey, bro, you scored today.
Dude, people were like laughing because we'd even score on ourselves sometimes by accident. And like we wouldn't remember that. But it was just like it was memories like that, that you never just like, I don't know, like those were all like I always remember, and I loved every minute of it. Like I'd always go back and do it again, me personally.
And academic wise, were you one of those person that was able to balance out both academics and sports?
So I did, but I'm not gonna lie, like I slept through a lot of my classes. Like I was known for sleeping. Like anytime you saw me, and I was asleep in class, asleep in class, asleep in class. I did graduate like.
That was me in college, bro. But if they asked me a question,
I knew it.
Yeah,
that was me too. Like
I would get pissed off.
Like I don't know why, like, but like I did, like I mean I got
came easy.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like y'all are absorbing it while y'all are asleep.
Yeah, you're like half asleep.
Yes.
So you're like listening.
Yes, 100%. I remember that too. Like I remember like kind of like, and I would wake up like, huh? And I'd just give the answer, and then I'd go right back to sleep. Like, no problem.
He's sleeping on the regular.
Like,
Let's be sleeping on the regular. Any little noise, I'll just be like, hey, yeah, I have the answer for that.
but yeah, that was me, and
There's a gnat. No, there's a gnat.
but yeah, I mean, I balanced it very well. It was definitely a culture change once I like transitioned into college and even like graduate school. But high school wise, like, I mean, I was able to do it pretty
Felt
easy.
like a breeze.
Yeah. What about you, Bill?
I'm from my couch also. Way down the valley with these two kids.
Kids, hey, that's a good compliment.
I'll take it.
But I'm the complete opposite. I wasn't nothing. I avoided everyone, and I was very to myself and reserved. And I would not do it again. Because I was, like, there's just, I mean, it was fun. I had my fun times. I had my friends I would hang out with, but like, I was ready to just get out and out of there. I think it's also because I had very strict parents. So like, I couldn't really do much.
Well, you guys live right next to each other.
Yeah, we grew up together.
Yeah, so we grew up together. He's like my brother. We were, hey, Nev, does your mom have, I don't know what my mom would send me to your house for.
Sugar, whatever. And vice versa. I'd be like, hey, we ran out of mayonnaise. You got
Yeah.
mayonnaise?
Like they couldn't go anywhere or do anything. So it's like, what's up, neighbor?
Hey, I was always up
That
and
was like, he
about,
was always
but
out.
as far as like the whole neighborhood, we always got along. The whole
Yeah.
neighborhood, we would always ride bikes
Especially when we were
around
kids,
the
we'd
neighborhoods
race
and stuff.
our bikes
I heard y'all were
around
bullies.
the blocks.
Depends who's at.
When did I say we were bullies?
She was a bully in college, bro.
She still is. What you mean?
Well, the girls are always the biggest bullies, so we'll just blame it on Belle this time.
You just
Yo,
say yes,
okay.
sir.
Just blame it on Belle.
As much as he's saying I was a bully, do you not remember we used to play, what was it called? What's dodgeball? And you guys would play dodgeball with me with a fucking basketball.
But everybody would get hit with basketballs.
I was the only one that would get hit.
Hey,
of
to
the
be fair,
girls.
she was the only girl that would play too, to be honest. So it's not our fault you played dodgeball with us.
I wasn't a bully. I just grew up with these people.
You're like, I had to adjust.
Exactly. I had to adjust and adapt
That was
because
us growing up.
Well, it
though.
had to be hard, bro. Like the way that we grew up, it was like
It was even like time out. Even during recess, like you go back to basketball playing dodgeball. When we would go out to recess, we wouldn't have soccer balls. What would we kick around? Fucking basketballs.
yeah. No, like for reals.
They'd be like, oh, we got a basketball. Let's play soccer with this.
I bet y'all got some thick skulls.
Hey, we're.
that's why we're a little tutted sometimes.
Just a little bit.
No, but yeah. So Ed Calchausa, for the people that don't know you, kind of like, you were quiet, but my thing is like you were smart, right? So
That's the thing. Like I
did
don't
you
think,
try?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I don't think I was smart. I mean, I'm smart, but I'm not like, oh my God, she's smart. I read and I know the answer to whatever you ask me. I just think it was also the area we're in. People expect less from us.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I came to College Station, it was like, oh fuck, I'm not smart at all. Like I fucking
Everybody was
suck.
smart.
So I don't think I was.
It was a wake-up call for a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
really
us.
was.
Well, because like you go to college and like you were saying about how like class was easy in high school. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything came easy to me.
Yeah.
You get to college and it's like, whoa, I gotta try.
Exactly. Like, we weren't used to trying. I wouldn't go home and study. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
need to do that. It was
Because my parents would be
everything.
like, Mijo, like, you're not gonna study? No.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Like, they just went over the stuff in class. I know it's gonna be on the test. Like,
Like, there's no point.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember my first round of college exams. Like, I failed every single one of them. Like, every class. Felt every single one of
Hey,
them.
where they have curves.
Yeah.
In college.
Even with the curves, I still failed.
Dang.
And so
Well,
it
it's like
was
a big, like,
It's a big difference.
it was
realization
a
or-
huge wake up call, man.
Yep.
Like saying, like, you know, like coming from like, you know, like being able to like breeze by, sleeping through class and doing all that, and then all of a sudden, like every test you take is just like bombed it. Like,
Well, I thought I was gonna be a math major. Who the fuck was I thinking I was gonna be a math major? Like, I thought I was good at math, and then I came to college and I was like, what the fuck were you thinking?
Hey, it's crazy though because I felt like I was pretty decent at math, and then I came here and with some of my clients they would show me some of their equations, and I got some of them, and then as they got to like I guess the higher classes, and they would show me, and they're like, oh yeah, now I'm writing a whole essay on this specific equation. I'm like, yeah,
It's a lot of-
I
it's a
don't
lot
know
of
how
theory.
that goes.
Like, you
Yeah,
get
it's
into
a lot of
theory-based.
theory.
out, bro.
And that's crazy. Once he got into the theory stuff, I was like, nah, bro, I'm 2 plus 2. I'm 2 plus 2.
But how far away is your hometown from College Station?
So my hometown's pretty close. It's only like an hour and 20 minutes or hour 30
So
minutes.
since we're from Texas, that's close.
Oh,
To people,
absolutely.
you drive a whole state.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, we're 6 hours away.
Yeah, you're going to drive
People,
outside
that's a whole
of
different
state.
country.
That's, yeah. No, it really is.
Maybe a couple countries, yeah.
We're very close by, and so it was good for me. Like at the end of the day, because I kept a good communication, especially my first year, like transitioning in, like when like I wasn't sure like with a lot of things, like if I was cut out for college after failing my first round of exams, and having a lot of lack of self-confidence, like am I really made for this? Or,
But what got you through it? You know what I mean? What kept you going?
Me personally, it was just like, like I knew I was capable of it. I was never challenged, I guess, in high school enough to be able to like explore that side of me and like know that I'm actually have the tools and capabilities necessary. What I had to learn was like actually doing the work versus like just always getting by off of, talent or like whatever. So like once I actually started to learn like, oh, I actually gotta, like study. I actually gotta like, go to these tutoring sessions.
So just showing up is not enough.
No, absolutely not. No, and I think that goes for a lot of things in life. Not just whether it's work, whether it's your marriage, whether it's like being there for your kids. Just showing up is never enough. You have to put in the work.
Got to be involved.
You have to be involved,
Yeah.
and you have to be committed to it, and show that it's an important part of your life. Because if not, then it's never going to reflect in the end product as far as everything is concerned.
Do you feel like I have to deal with procrastination? Like, because like in high school, I feel like I could get it done the day of.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
in college, like if you procrastinated, ooh.
Yeah,
I still had a
you'd
little
feel
bit.
it.
Yeah, I absolutely still did that, like my undergrad. But
Definitely.
when I got into my graduate school, I definitely felt like I never liked that feeling, like
Yeah.
stressing, and I was like, I don't know, maybe it's because like at that point I was like this.
Grad
like,
school's just different, I feel.
Yeah, it's like a different feeling because like I don't know, like for me, like bachelor's school was paid for,
Yeah.
in a sense because my scholarships and everything. But when grad school came along, I think I had a different mentality where it's like I want to move to the next point in my life, and I don't always want to feel stressed, and I want to feel prepared. And it was just a different mentality of like going through another stage in my life.
Because I was gonna say the crazy thing is like even though we're from two different parts of Texas, like I feel like we all feel the same. I feel like our schools, not blaming them, but they probably didn't do enough as like some of these greater schools.
Oh, they did what they could.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like they did what they could with what they had.
Yes.
And I never blame my schools or my community because
You're here because of them.
yeah, exactly. Like I will say this 100%. Like the reason why I got into A&M and got my entire school paid for was because I came from one of these communities where I had the opportunity to be in the top 10% to apply for these colleges and to apply for like these scholarships. And so I remember fondly, very, very fondly, and I learned a lot from all my teachers, which I appreciate so much, every teacher, coach, no matter who it was, that shaped me into who I am today. Because without them, like, no matter what, maybe I may have not been as prepared as other students, but I think at the end of the day, like, that helped me also get to a certain point in my life where maybe I wasn't as prepared, but I had another advantage in my life to move forward and not be stuck in debt or like certain other things. I love my community.
I think it's weird because people would be like, how is that an advantage if you're saying you're not being taught at the same level as all these other people? But there is that advantage of, because we're not being taught at that same level, because we come from small communities, there's recruiters who are looking for people in small communities and are willing to give money to people in those small communities. So in that aspect, it is an advantage.
And they know you have the talent. For anyone that comes from like a small community,
it's just if you're willing to put the work in.
At the end of the day, know your worth. And if you know your worth, put in the work. I promise you, you will see results and you will get those results that you want if you're willing to put in the work.
Because like from our school, like I'm kind of comparing it, but like how many actually did go to college? Because like when you talk about the percentage that actually goes to college after high school, ours is very little. So it's like the people that actually want to pursue that, there's help for us because we're actually wanting and trying to. And I feel like that's why we're fortunate, you know, even though we come from these smaller communities. But yeah, we see it where people graduate and they go to, you know, not even trade schools, just they go and work already. So I wasn't sure if that's kind of the same where you come from.
I think for our school, like we have a pretty good number that end up going to college, at least from like I remember like when my brother's class graduated back in I think it was 2018.
We were talking about like 112 students. Like, would you say half?
I wouldn't say half.
So like 20, 30?
I'd probably say like about 20 or 30.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
that's like when we graduated.
Yeah.
But I think ever since then, like I think more people like that I've kept up with on Facebook and stuff, more people have gone back to school.
But like, right, that's what we see. Like, as soon as we graduate, think about that, like 20%.
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on there.
So how was your college experience like, and how was your college experience like?
So I had a complete culture shock. I hadn't visited College Station. I just decided to come here because they were paying off my school. And I remember on the new student orientation, I remember leaving, going to the hotel, and just bawling. And I told my dad, what did I just do? Like, we grew up where there's nothing but Mexicans. Like, that's all there is. So when I came here, I was like, I am so out of place. Again, I was very shy, very reserved. So I didn't know how to like communicate with people, especially people I can't relate to. And a lot of people in College Station I couldn't relate to because like the way we were brought up was completely different. Like the things they would talk about, I was like, I can't relate to you, and I'm not gonna try because I don't even know what that means half the time. My vocabulary was also very bad compared to some of these people, which I didn't realize till later, like when I met him. But yeah, so it was really hard kind of getting through that culture shock. And then not only that, because I am shy and reserved, it was really hard to get myself out there. Luckily, I did come with you and like a couple of other people, but I felt like I had a hard time pushing myself to get out there. Most of the people I hung out with were people that I had to. So like my roommates and like people I had classes with, it wasn't me going out of my way, joining clubs. And maybe I should have. I do kind of regret doing that, not doing that a little bit. But for the most part, it was like people that were already in the way, if that makes sense. Like they were already coming to me, and it was easier for me to make friends that way. Regardless, I did have a really good experience. I do not regret my bachelor's. I've never been a party girl, so I don't regret not going to that many parties. The few that I did not enjoy. I didn't. Guys are ridiculous. We did go to some clubs. I enjoyed that. It wasn't always bad. I like the Tejano clubs. What was it called? Fuego? No, it wasn't called Fuego.
It was
the one.
It's not even open anymore.
No, it wasn't.
It was on in College Station. It wasn't even in Northgate.
Where Juice is?
You were there, bro.
Yeah.
You locked eyes.
No, what was it? Karma? Was it?
But it was like a Spanish one.
I think
like
it was
that one
Club
was
Karma.
fun.
Was it Karma?
I think it was Karma, bro.
I don't remember. It was.
We actually have a picture. I'm not gonna lie. We
Do
have
we?
a picture with Lali, Luis.
Yeah.
I
Hey, man.
remember where it was. I just don't remember the exact name of the club.
Yeah.
But yes.
I think it's like
maybe it was
LA
Karma.
Crawfish now or something.
Yeah. Oh, that place is bomb.
It is really good. Y'all need to go if you haven't.
Hey.
He doesn't like
We need
seafood,
to get him
so
on
but
the
like
pod.
you need to go.
All right, LA Crawfish.
Yeah, it
something.
is
No, it's not
delicious.
LA crawfish. Isn't it called Juicy?
Oh, it is
No,
juicy.
Yeah, juicy.
Juicy. Yeah.
Juicy.
Sorry for getting your name confused, but
Juicy.
delicious. Go check
I was
it
like,
out.
LA? Where do we go to LA?
Well, we have LA in San Antonio.
In San Antonio.
Yeah.
But okay, so like Belle, like you're saying that you're more of an introvert, but to be honest, like I feel like when you get comfortable, you're not. Does that make sense?
I'm like an introvert extrovert, so I can force myself to be an extrovert, but it drains my battery. Like I will need
Yes, you
time
need to
to
recharge.
recover.
But you need to be away from everybody.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
it takes a lot out of me. But, and I was talking to him about this a couple days ago. For a long time, I was so used to being an introvert, and like there was a reason why I would reserve myself and not talk to people. So that's kind of like what I knew, and that's all I knew. And so I wasn't open to getting to know people in a deeper way. But I also didn't want to have these surface level conversations because it would bore me. So it was like I was in my own way, if that makes sense. Like I'd be like, okay, I can have these borderline conversations. This is kind of boring. Not make me want to talk to you anymore. But because I didn't want to get into a deep conversation, even though that's really what I wanted. Because I don't do borderline
Yeah,
conversations.
because I know you made great friends out of A&M.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I say. I don't regret my experience. The people that I made friends with are still in my life and are very great friends still till today. Even if some of them we don't stay in contact every single day, we will still message each other and tell each other how much we're proud of each other and where we are. Not all of us graduated. Not all of us got through the whole it's funny because like all of us have like our own little paths, but at the end of the day we're still
Connected.
you find your way, and it's like you find your way where you need to be, and then you end up.
Yep.
It's like that path was made for you.
It lines
So-
up.
Yeah.
But it was worth it then, having to go through it.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I say. I do not regret it at all, even though I regret not putting myself out there a little bit more, but I still made great friends along the way.
How was your experience, man?
So I came from a small town that was like pretty, I would say country kind of like, so it wasn't too different like culture shock wise. It was kind of like a bigger small town from where I was from in a sense. Like I wasn't too culture shocked from that. Like it was, again, just like a bigger small town is the best way I can describe it from everything. I think my situation was a little bit different because like during that time I was, when I graduated I was, sounds kind of bad to say, but I was about to die, honestly. I was sick during that time. A lot of health issues going on.
Oh,
and so,
I didn't know.
Yeah, I had a lot of health issues going on during that time. And so I barely was like coming out of the hospital where I was like admitted for like 2 weeks and like was struggling to try to make the dates like to be able to attend.
That was
A&M.
like for your freshman year?
My freshman year, yeah.
Wow. Dude.
And so like during that time I was like trying to get adjusted with like dealing with my whole illness. And so I was very self-conscious of it. For those of you who have like ulcerative colitis, like I don't know if anyone listening ever does, but you know, it's basically like something where a disease where you constantly like are kind of tied down to the restroom, unfortunately, and like your life revolves around the toilet in a sense, and you're always having to plan where you're going, what you're gonna do, what timing, what you eat. You know, is it gonna affect
You're
anything?
bringing a memory in my head.
And in college, that's not fun.
Yeah,
'Cause,
it's
like,
not,
What
because
you're doing is
everything
never
is
planned.
hard.
Yeah, it's like everything's like you're trying to go out and party, like you know, guys go outside and pee and like do all these things, and like you with those ulcerative colitis, like you're gonna have
So
to.
you would
like,
go outside and poop?
sometimes, man, like honestly, like no, like honestly, I swear, like it was that bad. It was that bad. Like that's how bad my sickness was, and
And
like
how long did you have that sickness?
man,
If you don't mind us
Was it 3
asking.
years?
it was like 3 or 4
But
years.
is
I
that
remember.
like curable or?
So for me, like I was fortunate enough, like I was able to get surgeries my sophomore year, and then everything kind of changed for me. I was like did a whole long year where I was like having 3 surgeries, and things after that were completely different for me in my eyes. But like my freshman year was kind of like a transition, trying to deal with all that and like trying to make friends and like deal with that because everyone wanted to go party, and I was all down for it. But you know, in the back of my head, I was always thinking like, damn, like.
They're not going to stop when I need them to stop.
Yeah, or like, where's the restroom? Am I gonna be able to access it or stuff like that? It was just like trying to balance all that out, and I think it would have been maybe a little bit of a different experience, like more putting myself out there because I don't think I did as much. I did join like bonfire groups and stuff like that, and I loved it. Like I was in bonfire for a little bit.
I feel like everyone that was in Bonfire says the same thing.
Yeah, Walton
They love it.
Loads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
FHK, what a Tree Killers.
Yeah, I was in Kruger Hall.
Okay,
Kruger
yeah.
Kings, yeah. So I was with the Krugers. I had a buddy who, like, I was coming into college with. I met him because of one of my other friends I did with debate. That was her boyfriend at the time. So if that made sense. So I met her in debate, and then her boyfriend I got really good close friends
Here in
with.
college.
Yeah, here in college, and so I joined Bonfire because of him, and like he made me like feel at home because like I don't know, like he understood where I was coming from. And I would still go out and party from time to time and like have fun and do all those things.
Dude, that makes a big difference. Having like a support group or friends, like
Somebody who understands.
like to me, because like they've heard it in my story. Like I didn't get to graduate,
Yeah,
but what kept me going was like the friends, people I had. Like,
it makes a big difference,
yeah,
man.
because like our friend Luis, like I didn't know what I was gonna do. He's like, dude, just come work with me at Sabisa. And I was like, all right, swipe.
Yeah.
I probably swiped you in. Yeah. No, but like what you're saying, like having that, having those friends or having people, I feel like the people you meet in college are different to the friends you had in high school.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's because like you transition to a point in your life where you're trying to find the people who are going to be there for you.
I feel like you truly grow up with these people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you don't grow up in high school. Clearly, you grow up, but you become a freaking adult and you realize how
This is
hard
where you
this
learn.
shit is.
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause you're
this
doing
is
shit
not
on
a
your
game.
own.
Like,
Yeah.
this is
And it's
real
because
shit.
and the people you meet here, you're pretty much growing the same time they're growing, so you guys kind of feed off each other.
Yeah. And you can kind of learn off of each other and like take, your hardships and learn from them. Or like my hardships, I want you to be able to like, man, I really messed this up. Like, don't make the same mistake, dude. Like, this is what you should do. Like, don't invest in this, or don't buy this, or, study for this, whatever it is,
Yeah.
kind of things like that. Like, it's who you really are out there and trying to become your person at the end of the day. Not that, like she said, like high school or like junior high, you're not becoming who you are, but you're truly transitioning into that own independency in your point in your life. And
because you get away from your comfort zone, and then it's like you're on your own. You're like, all right. But then there's all these other people that are on your own. You're like, all right, nobody knows what the fuck we're doing. We'll do it together. Like, and it makes you a closer group.
And as far as that, like, what would you, as far as like for junior, classify as like a good friend? Like, what are the like some points you look at? Like, if I'm looking for a friend, like, or for instance, like let's say Luis, because I know he's one of your good friends. Yeah. So putting him out there, we'll have to get him here too. So him, what are some things that stands him apart from other friends where you're like, he's just that, I already know. You know what I mean?
I think for me, like,
or what are some things you look at that classifies
sure.
you as like, that's my friend?
Things that I look for in someone is like, we can have like a genuine conversation about like, I don't know, like I've always told Belle, like I observe people a lot. Like I always listen to what they say and how they say things. And I think if you're very genuine about like your intentions, like from the bat, like, whether it be like, at the end of the day, I don't care like what you're looking for, but like as long as you're not BSing me about what you're looking for and what you're trying to do, and you just tell me straight up, like, I want to be your friend, or, I want to learn from you, or I want to be a better person. Can you help me? I can rock with you. I can do whatever. Like, just be straightforward with me. And another thing is like, being able to have those deep conversations, like where it's like understanding who you are as a person, what makes you tick, what makes you like who you are as a person, like growing up.
But not feeling judged by it.
Exactly.
Because you both can like
understand and come back and forth and like, have that understanding, like, dude, I had something similar. Like, let me tell you about this. And like, hey, I may not understand where you're coming from, but I can kind of put myself in your shoes and understand why you made those decisions that you're doing, and understanding.
So someone open and willing to share?
Oh, absolutely, man.
But I think that's why we all get along so well, because we're never trying to hide anything. We're always just like, and if you guys do something wrong or we do something wrong, we call each other out.
Yeah, like we'll have a good laugh about it, and
like you're not an asshole about, or sometimes we are, but like you don't mean it with like ill intention. There's always a good intention behind it. Like, bro, like maybe you shouldn't have done it that way, but at the end of the day, I think we all know it's not coming from a bad place. It's coming from a good place. We got your back regardless. We just gotta let you know, hey, bro, like,
chill out.
Yeah.
I know this is a blooper, but I have to go take a piss really bad.
Go for it.
All right. Do I turn off the mic?
Yeah, go for it.
I was like, because I don't think I want to. I don't think I want to hear
You
that.
just have to hold it and it'll Taco
Taco
Bell.
Bell.
Taco Bell.
So actually, Taco Bell. I heard that's what you lived off out
I
here
did.
for
I
a
hated
while.
Taco Bell before I came here.
Hey,
Hated
sponsorships.
it.
Sponsorships.
Hated Taco Bell.
Because
And
it
then-
wasn't Mexican food.
Exactly.
And
Like, why am
everybody's
I
like,
gonna pay for something that's
Yes.
fucking fake? And then I come here and it's like I lived off of Taco Bell and I got it. It was like fast food.
Yeah.
It kept you skinny because it didn't stay in
It
you.
came in one way and went out the other, just like Junior.
But it was the only thing open in the middle of the night, really.
Yeah.
Like when you would be out late.
Was that or
Studying.
McDonald's, right?
Yeah. And it's right next to the campus. Or at the time, now they have so much more crap next to the campus. But at the time, it was one of the only things next to the campus at
Did
the
you
time to be open.
Get your master's? I didn't even know.
You didn't?
I don't think so.
What do you think I was doing here for so long? I was just kicking it back.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I got my master's after my bachelor's in
Was
urban
it
planning.
easier, because I feel like people go through their master's pretty fast.
Yeah, because it's usually just a 2-year program.
Okay.
But you gotta think of it. Your bachelor's is only so long because you're taking all the basics.
Yeah.
If you were to remove the basics, your actual curriculum is like 2 years.
2 years.
Just same thing with your master's.
And I want to say some of them actually dropped it down to like a year.
Yeah, some of them are a year and a half.
Yeah, like they dropped
I almost
it down.
got into a program. I was between 2 programs. One of them was a year and a half. One of them was 2 years. And then if I were to combine them, it would have been, I think, 3 years together. You tripping? But yeah, I did my master's here because when I graduated from my bachelor's, I just woke up one day and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting anywhere with this bachelor's. I need to do something else. I also didn't know what I was doing in my life, so that kind of gave me some time in between to figure that out. And I figured out I hated my major, but I also figured out, hey, I can do this.
What was
it's
your major?
I don't know if I should say this because I work in urban planning.
Recreational
but-
parks? Or?
No, it's
You
urban
also
planning.
forgot to mention what your major was undergrad.
Undergrad. I don't even remember the name of it. Shit.
Well, no, because like I feel like there's other people in where you're at.
Yeah.
So there's people from the city that I've talked to that feel stuck.
Yeah.
So then they're like, what do I do next?
So my undergrad, what the hell was it called? The hell?
Isn't it RPT?
It wasn't general studies because general studies was if you weren't in a college, but it was close to general studies where you would pick a college and then you would take a couple classes from all the majors
You
within
didn't do
that
tourism
college.
sciences?
I had my minor in recreation, tourism management, and then in urban planning. So I had 2 minors and then
I've
plus
known
my
her
major.
5 years. I just found this out. Anyways.
I think it was called like something like land use and construct. It was a long ass major. I don't even know if it exists anymore, honestly. But
They probably renamed it.
Probably.
urban regional planning and something like that. I don't know. It was like a mixture of everything in architecture. So I was in the school of architecture. I took a couple classes everywhere, and it kind of gave me an idea of what you liked within architecture, and you could either graduate with it, or move out of it on time because you have, in order for you to move out of a degree, you have to have less or a certain amount of hours. And if you overdo that hour, you're kind of screwed. You stay where you're at. I decided to stay with that degree because, again, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Yeah. And I had 2 minors. I was like, I'm just going to use these 2 minors for the rest of my life. You know, like that's just going to get me by. And I had a general idea of like construction science and urban planning. So I felt like I was well-rounded at the time. But again, I graduated and I woke up and I was like, bitch, you don't know what you're doing. You need more time. So I went back and I was between urban planning, construction science, or parks and recreation.
That one that is after her, bro.
Then that.
The one that
I know,
is
it
after
is.
her.
And if you really think of it, all 3 of those can come together at one point because all development requires all 3 of those things. It was just a matter of like, what do I want to do? Master's in construction science is not it. Or at least it wasn't for me.
Yep.
It's not learning the actual field. Like you're not going to go
Out there.
Yeah, the master's is a completely different program. And then Parks and Recreation, I absolutely loved Parks and Recreation. It was so much fun, but I felt like urban planning had more, I could do more with it. It was more
What's the difference
flexible.
between those 2?
Well, mine was tourism management, so it was really just like planning events, coordinating, doing all like a lot of what nonprofits do is they have to coordinate with people, get that money in, because sometimes you're not working with a lot of money.
Yep.
How are you going to sponsor an event and all of that? So it's like network building. Everything that I'm not is basically what it was. You know, like you have to be loud and talkative and communicative and all of that. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it. Urban planning, depending on what route you go with it, again, it's very flexible. A lot of people don't know what urban planning is. There's 2 phases to it. There's the long range,
Okay.
and then there's the current like planning. So when you're looking at long range, it's usually looking at you're making plans at like, what is the vision for the city? Where do we want it to go?
Oh, yeah. So like when they redevelop like, you know, a certain street. Cause
Yeah, you have to plan ahead before all that happens. So like before anything goes into the floor, these streets need to be planned way
I know the
ahead of
city
time.
gives money to some owners that take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Like not landlords.
Developers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of planning that goes in the long range, and then again, you talk to communities. You say, what do you want for, like, what is your vision for this area?
Yep.
And you kind of make the plan for that. You make zoning districts that would match what their vision is.
And
that
then
way, when
are there
development
restrictions?
that way, when development comes, there's those restrictions
Yep.
that the community cares about. Current planning, which is what I like. I don't like long range. It's too much
It's a lot.
theoretical. It's a
Yep.
lot theoretical. I don't do theoretical. I like to just tell me now what we need.
You need the hard proof.
And
So
just do
current
it.
planning
yeah.
is when you're dealing with plots, when you're doing with like
Yeah.
development that is happening today, and zoning that's happening today. So that's the difference between both. You're thinking the long range, or you're thinking what's coming in today, and does it
Nice.
match with what there is on the ground at the moment, not necessarily thinking in the future.
It's like we talked about, like coming in, like all the new stuff that's been going on around here in Bryan. Like you
It
were
was
talking
kind of
about.
nice coming in because I was like, dude, like that's the plan.
The Midtown
literally,
development?
Right before I left, it got approved and it's already built. Like what the hell? Like that happened so fucking fast.
So you actually get to see like things that impact the community, like as far as like.
She gets to see before.
Yeah.
Before it even
Yeah. So like.
goes into light.
Yeah.
Some cities, again, depending on where you're working at, it's nice working for a smaller city because you get to see everything, whereas in a bigger city, they kind of divide the planners and they only deal with like zoning and platting, and like everybody just does the one thing. But when you work for a smaller city,
little bit of
you get to
everything.
see a little bit of everything. So when I was working here, it's like you would go to pre-development meeting with someone. Once you took that pre-development meeting with that person, you were taking them all the way through until their plan got approved. So it's kind of cool, like you get to see that plan develop, even though it's not your own, because clearly they're paying a lot of money for that thing to get made,
Yep.
so you can't claim it. But
It's cool because
it's cool
I'm
because
on
you
the
get
other
to
side
see
of
like
it.
It has to
everything
pass
that
through you
happens through it.
first.
Yeah, like we are the first eyes on it normally, and then obviously it has to go through all the higher ups.
Because like when we were driving in, when you mentioned like, oh crap, like that one got approved, like I was
Yeah.
still here and like I approved it and now it's up
It
already.
wasn't. I didn't approve
Okay.
it, but it was like it had gotten approved right before I left, and it's already up. And I'm like, dude, it hasn't even been that long.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of has, but
But when Belle was with the city, I got a letter for code violation.
oh yeah, and he was like, what? And I was like, well, you're violating the code. I don't know what you want me to do. And he was like, well, what do I need? Put up a tree, bro. Like,
It was, and I was just like, we're grandfathered in. She's like, no.
no, you're not.
That doesn't work like that.
You know, to this day, I think we're about to get either. No, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna,
Yeah. How about you?
let's just say it hasn't happened. They're gonna be like, gotcha. No, that's pretty cool.
But-
It's kind of weird though, like, cause we both started off like I wanted to be an engineer, math major,
Yeah, that's
and like, you know, it's kind of like.
we were both like, you were wanting to do mechanical. I think I was wanting to do electrical, but we were both on the same path. Again.
Well, I was saying in
the
my
fuck?
podcast, we were in two separate freaking buildings. We only had one class that was different. Same freaking schedule.
Yeah,
We built
we
it
followed
on two.
around, like we followed each other around everywhere.
And I was like, hey, bro, why you copying me, bro?
It wasn't until we
Yeah.
finally divided. And you still kind of stuck to engineering. I went the whole
Yeah.
other path, but
Yep. And then it was crazy, but it's crazy how like there's so many sides to real estate, like
Yeah.
with the city side too. So it was pretty cool. I never got to hear that, so now I know. That's pretty awesome.
And with your urban planning degree here at A&M, did you have to go to like study abroad or get internships or
for my
anything like
bachelor's,
that?
I had to do study abroad. For my master's, I almost coughed. For my master's, we did have to do an internship. It was a requirement so that you can get experience under your belt. And again, your master's, it's not necessarily that it's harder than your bachelor's. I wouldn't say. I think what makes it easier is that you're actually interested in the subject you're studying, and you're not having to do the bullshit of like all these basic stuff. Like
Yeah.
the classes you're taking are for whatever future career you see yourself in. Again, halfway through, I was like, I don't know if I see myself in this career. But then I realized, like, it's not that I don't, it's that I don't like long-range planning. And it's not to you, at least for this program. Like, it's a beautiful, great program, but I don't think they touch on what today's planning is, or
Yeah.
like what
It's outdated.
it's all long range planning.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Oh,
what they
okay,
focus
okay.
on.
Yeah.
But when I came to the real world and I was like working with the city, it was like, oh, that has nothing to do with what I learned. I didn't learn how to read a plot. Like you learn that while you're working.
Nice.
But because again, there's two different plannings that they don't really talk about.
I remember when she first started working, and she was looking at the plots and stuff.
I was like, I don't know what the
She's
fuck I'm looking at.
How am I doing that? I was like, I didn't even go to college. I don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. I was like, but that looks cool, whatever you have on your computer.
I remember I used to go to work and like they would like just throw out all these like letters and I was like, what the fuck do all these letters mean? Because again, like they focus more on long range planning in the program I was in. And then I sat down, I started writing all these fucking letters, like all these acronyms, and then like slowly I started looking them up, or when I would hear them explain it, I'd be like writing. So I had a list of like all these acronyms and what it meant.
So how many
yeah.
how many cities have you worked for?
Only two.
Only two? Nice.
But my first job was with a private company, and it was grant money, federal grant money, and that required us to work with several cities. So even though I've only worked officially for 2 cities, I've worked with other cities.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. So, Junior, did you get your master's?
I did. I actually just got my master's last year in May is when I graduated, and so I did my master's in physician assistant. It's a medical degree, not quite like a doctorate. It's a like master's, but very similar to what a doctor does. Very similar.
What are the biggest differences, or why do you prefer that?
We were talking about it earlier, me and Neff, and you know, I got into college, and just based off of like mentioned earlier, like how sick I was and everything. I didn't know coming out of college what I was going to do with my life, just kind of like most people do.
What was your undergrad?
My undergrad was in kinesiology.
Okay.
It was applied exercise kinesiology, and I got an internship, and I started working afterwards in a cardiac rehab for a while. But I didn't know exactly what specifically I wanted to do until like I went through like being sick and everything, and just realized like, you know, like, man, I felt great. Like, you know, I felt alone and dark when I was sick, even though I had my family there with me. But like the doctors and nurses and nursing staff and everyone, it was
Because you were going through it.
Yeah.
You were the one going through it, yeah.
And
I'm sure it's like a matter of life or death.
yeah.
You don't know.
You don't know what's gonna happen
At that
next.
point, it was
cut your intestine or do anything like that?
yeah, I actually had my whole like colon, like large intestine removed.
Yeah,
was, like,
because
cut
it
out.
sounds like when people have like IBS, like
Yeah.
irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah,
'Cause,
exactly.
I think we have a friend that has that, and man, they had to cut like I don't know if I know he had surgery, but he went from like a really big guy, to skinny man.
That's exactly what happened. I remember like when I can't remember if it was like the hospitalization I talked to you about or there was another one I had where I was like in there for another 2 weeks. But I mean, there's a picture of me and it's like, I was like weighing 108 pounds. It was crazy. I lost 21 pounds in like 2 weeks. It was insane. It looked like just a bag of bones.
Is there food you had to eat, or just is there still food that kind of messes with you?
Nowadays, I can eat basically anything. I mean, I don't really have any issues with any foods. Like, I can eat just about anything. Spicy foods kind of messes me up a little bit just from time to time. But nuts, sometimes I just don't digest very well. But other than that, I mean, I got a normal diet. I love eating everything as far as everything is concerned. I'll try it just about anything. But kind of just circling back around to like...
Yeah, why the PA?
Yeah, why I got involved as far as like PA. I knew I wanted to go in the medical field after my experiences, but I don't know, man. After going through that first year of college, I was like, I don't know if like going...
Especially for medical stuff,
med
man.
school
That's
was like-
crazy.
You don't know if you wanted to be a doctor, but you wanted to be
Like, I got a lot of
medical
clients
field.
that study for MCATs and study for a whole
long,
bunch of
man.
things, man. It's crazy. And I'm like, man,
It's a long career, I'll say that. And credit to anyone who goes the MD route. Power to you. I respect you so much. I would have done it too. I don't have the want to like stay that long in that field, like the school wise, and like wait for the payoff, I guess, in a sense. Because I know like for med school, you got to go your 4 years to med school after your 4 years of undergrad, and then you got to do your residency, and then if you want to do a fellowship or, you know, anything else, it just keeps adding up. And it was like for me, I was like, man, the more I thought about it and sat down, I was like, I'm barely getting by these first 4 years. I was like, I don't know if I want to do school another 4 years, and then another on top of that, 2 another years, or, you know, X amount. So I kind of just there was a Catholic school teacher I had. His name was Gordon Lee, and thank you so much for everything you've done for me as far as my life is concerned. But I just remember him. I told him, like, he'd known I was been sick, and he was like, you know, you're trying to go into the med field. Why don't you come shadow me for a little bit? I didn't even know what he did. I just knew he was something in the med field. So I go and shadow him. He's like, starts talking to me. He's like, you know, I'm a physician assistant. I'm like, you know, I only had to go to school for another 2.5 years, a master's degree, and during that time. And so he kind of just started explaining to me all the things that come with being a physician assistant. And to me personally, what attracted me is like when he explained it, is like only 2.5 years. So like 28 months is most program lengths. And then you can start working. You just pass your PANTS test, and then you can start working, get your certified degree, get registered by the state of Texas or wherever you're at, and then you can start working. The other thing that really called to my attention was you get really competitive pay. I mean, it's not quite as like big as a doctor's salary, but very competitive. You can live off that salary very comfortably. And then also as well as like, I never knew what I wanted to do in medicine. Like I was always kind of scared, like if I went into the wrong field or I got stuck in a field
Like
where
a profession, right?
as a profession. Whereas like I know with doctors, once you get kind of going in the field, you're kind of just, you're stuck there for life.
Specialize in it.
Yeah, you got to specialize in it, and that's what you're going to do, whether you like it or not. That's your career. Yeah, unless you want to go back to go do med school all over again. At least that's to my understanding, is that's how it works. Whereas like me as a PA, like we get trained, our medical base model is like based after a doctor's model. So like we learn the same way a doctor does, but we learn more about everything as far as everything is concerned. So like we don't have to like pick a field and stick with it for the rest of our lives. For example, like right now I'm doing emergency medicine, and if I wanted to like just quit tomorrow and go into do like, I don't know, pediatrics, work with kids, I could do that as long as I found a doctor that would take me in and start working with them. Or if I wanted to like just switch it up and just be like, hey, you know what? I just want to do family practice. I just want to work in a clinic. I can do that tomorrow, no problems. I just have to find, at the end of the day, a doctor that's willing to let me work under their license, because that's essentially what a physician assistant does, is we work together with the doctor and collaborate so that I can work under his license and treat people and have, you know, that confidence with that doctor that I'm going to be able to treat people the way I should as far as everything is concerned.
And as far as like for that degree, what do your rotations look like?
So you do a year of like the first year is nothing but you're in class. So like you're in class 24/7 basically of your life for the first year.
But this is like in your master's?
In your master's.
Oh, okay.
So the first year in your master's is like nothing, like you're anywhere from a year to about a year and 6 months is like you're just in class studying.
Kind of like
depending on
learning
the
everything,
program.
soaking up
Where'd you get
everything.
your master's at, man?
I got my master's at University of Mary Hardin Baylor, which is in Belton, Texas. So that's where I got mine. But yeah, that first year is like you're just purely like learning all the basics of medicine, like how to identify diseases, what physical exams are you looking for, anatomy and physiology, you know, how to talk to patients, how to like be able to go in and do like all these things that you're going to be as a professional. You're learning that in the classroom. And then once you get done with your initial year, which we call didactic, it's like nothing but in school or like in the classroom. Then you start going to your clinical rotations, which most programs are anywhere between a year to a year and a half of rotation, depending on where you go. And that's where you do your core rotations of like, you know, you do internal medicine, you do general surgery, you do pediatrics, OB-GYN, you do all these other kind of subspecialties.
That's great. That's kind of where you found like, I kind of like ER.
Exactly, and that's where you kind of start getting like, oh man, I get to try out all of these different fields and like figure out what I actually like.
And all doctors are different, huh?
Yeah, you definitely like get to work with doctors and then work under PAs, and then you get a like very varying field. At least in my kind of experience here in College Station, I was able to work with some of the best doctors I've ever known and some of the best PAs I've ever known, and just being able to like learn from them and kind of take everything you can and soak it up and see what you like, see what you don't like. Like for me, for example, I love kids, but I do not like treating kids.
You get scared.
Well, it's different, right?
Do
Do you think it's different? Like, Because I know you guys have a kid now, but did you have that feeling before?
I did. I think to me, it's like I don't ever want to miss something on somebody's kid, and that sounds really bad to say, but like I don't know, like with adults, I can understand adult physiology more, like anatomy and physiology more, like how adults work.
And sometimes
versus,
they
like,
could
kids.
explain a little bit better too.
Exactly. Like when I don't know. I always told Bill, like, it weirds me out because, like, if I were to ask you right now, like, hey, what's hurting? You point to me, you tell me everything that's going on. With a kid, it's like, they say yes to everything, or they say no to everything, and you're just
Or
like,
they just start pointing everywhere.
yes. And it's like, does your stomach hurt? Yes. Does your head hurt? Yes. Are you throwing up? Yes. And then you ask Mom, is that true? She's like, no. Their throat hurts. That's all they.
So it's kind of like you have two patients.
Exactly. And exactly, it's exactly like that, because not only are you having to juggle the patient, but you're also having to, like, understand where the parents are coming from and try to also, like, in a sense, like, keep them comfortable and, like, reassure them that, like, hey, I promise you, like, we're doing the best care to make sure your baby will be very well taken care of and he is in good hands. And so, yes, you are kind of dealing with two patients in a sense. And there's a beautiful thing behind it, and shout out to every pediatrician out there or PA, NP that works in pediatrics. I highly, highly commend you, because to me, it scares the living crap out of me. Like, I don't know. It's just not one of those things.
And I was about to say, it's crazy because coming from the ER, you've probably seen everything.
Yeah, you're like, think about Grey's Anatomy, man. All the stuff that happened there.
I don't know, like, ER, like, at least where I'm at, like, we just recently moved to San Antonio. And so I'm working at one of the ERs down, like, close to the downtown. And so, I mean, I see anywhere from 2-day-old patients to 99, 100-year-old patients. And there's something, it still scares me to death every time a kid checks in. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, he always comes home like, oh my God, I had to go see a kid today.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it freaks me out. Like, I know I'm getting better at it, but at the same time, like, there's something about it where it's like, once you see enough, like, you start kind of picking up on things. Like, I tell her all the time, like, the first 3 months of my job, I came home terrified every single day. Like, I would wake up in cold sweats.
Just dreaming about work.
Yeah, but I feel like that's like any job. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Any job you go that it's your first time, it's always going to be the most stressful. It's always going to take you longer to figure it out. I feel like, but once you put those 3-4 months in of actual work, like staying overtime, learning your computer, learning the process. After that, it's just,
but I feel
all right,
like
what am I doing next? I'm bored.
what gets him, it's not necessarily all the paperwork and shit. It's, did I send someone home that's gonna come, like, that's gonna die?
Oh,
basically.
that's gonna come back or not
their
come back.
life is at stake, and that's where he's just like.
That's what gets me.
What
Well,
scares
definitely.
the crap out
But
of
as far
him.
as like learning and reading
For sure.
stuff, it's one of those where it's like now it's just seeing patients come in and the way they're acting, you're kind of like, nah, you're not that bad. You know what I mean? Or
Exactly.
like, there's something else going on here.
And absolutely, and that's what I told her. Is like, I remember there was, so I got the job because of one of my best friends in PA school. He's like, hey dude, like, there's an opening. I'm gonna go work here. If you want to work in ER, apply. Like, they'll take you on. Like, and that's rare for like ER.
For someone who just graduated.
Who just graduated, very rare experience. So I was like, that's hard to pass up. So I go and talk with them. They accept me and everything. And his older brother is like the main PA, the main advanced practitioner is what we call it. And I remember, like, he'd always check in on this fantastic guy. Both of them are stand-up guys. Like, I have no bad things to say about them. And he was like a real big, like, help transitioning from like going in from school standpoint to actually working. And he knew I was like stressing all the time. Like, he could tell. And he would always tell me, he's like, man, like, just keep working. You're doing a great job. But before you ever quit, give it 6 months. Give it 6 months. If in 6 months you absolutely still hate it and you don't want to do it, good. Now you know your answer. Yeah. But he's like, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you're just still learning everything. You're still trying to get used to like how things work, trying to pick up on like what's an emergency, what's not an emergency kind of thing. And after like 5, 6 months, oh yeah, I come home. I don't bring home really. Well, sometimes like if there's a patient that just
depends on the day.
Yeah, if there's a patient that was kind of
But it's normal.
Hassle,
Yeah,
absolutely.
But it's definitely like Neff said, like that's with every job. Because even like one of my old managers said, in 3 months you'll get an idea of what you're doing. In 6 months you'll know where you to look if you don't know what you're doing.
That's how people.
And in a year you know what you're doing, but you're not you're not fully like an expert yet.
Yep.
Give it a couple more years. He's like, but within that first year, it's just all learning.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people, because I was like, give it a year. I was like, because we do things on a monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, yearly basis.
Yeah. And for anyone out there, like, it's like, just trust the process, do the work.
And be patient.
Yeah. You got to be patient with yourself and know that
graceful.
you'll pick it up. Yeah. You're going to make mistakes.
Okay, so how do you guys juggle it? Like, what's your work day? What's your work day?
Oh, man.
And like now having a kid, like,
In the beginning,
I feel like you guys are busy, man.
Oh, yeah, it's a busy lifestyle.
I think in the beginning it was hard because I wasn't working and I'm not used to not working. I have to be doing something. So I would be home all day because I didn't know anybody in San Antonio. I was like brand new. And then he'd come home so tired after a 12-hour work shift.
But you want to do
I'd
stuff.
be like talking,
Yeah.
right? Because I've been home all day, I haven't talked to anyone. And he's just like, bro, like
I just want to chill.
we would bump heads a lot.
Freddie's like, I understand.
I get it. I get
Yeah,
it.
we would bump heads a lot. So it was really difficult in the beginning. And then his hours were like one
Just know
day.
if you work ER, you're not going to ever have a set schedule.
Yeah, because it's like one day you'll work from like the morning, and then the other day he'll work all night, and it's like there was never a set schedule. And if we wanted to set up a date night, I didn't know when that was gonna be. If he was gonna be tired, he probably was gonna be tired, and not want to talk during the date. Like, it was so freaking hard.
Let's go watch a movie.
Yeah.
That would happen. It would irritate the crap out of me.
And I was never one to do that, ever. Like, I was
Yeah,
the one
he
that
was
was
always-
talking the movie. Like,
He's
I
always
was,
been very involved, and then like ever since he started job, it was kind of like, who are you? Like, it's like I'm relearning who he is, and it was difficult because being at home, you don't get an outlet.
Yeah, you don't have that social interaction with anybody.
Yeah, and it wasn't until like what, a month after me living at home, I got my own job, and then it got a little bit easier because it's like he was at work, I was at work, and even when I wasn't at work and he was, like, I was trying to figure out. It's a new city, new everything. So I was trying, like, I would come home sometimes, like, reading some stuff, like, I need to figure this out because I'm new here. It wouldn't bother me that he wasn't home, or if he would come home and he didn't want to talk. My mind was like thinking about other stuff. Yeah. And then I started meeting people too, so it's like I didn't have a need for him as much.
You didn't rely on me to be
I didn't rely
everything.
on you to be my
Everything,
person to like vent to or talk to or do anything. And then the baby came.
Yeah, baby
It
came
just made things like
in December. It was a culture shock for sure.
Yeah.
It was different, very different, because we were both blessed. She had about 6 weeks off, and I was able to get like almost a month off.
yeah, and
basically.
both of us got paid. So
Yeah.
like it wasn't like we were off and then we didn't get paid. We were both getting paid during the whole. So I felt like there was some ease at that too. Like you're not stressing like, okay, I'm taking all this time off and how am I going to pay bills? Because we both were
Yeah.
getting paid.
So I think during when we had the baby, it was an adjustment because
We also had people coming over and
yeah, there was a lot of company which we were blessed with, but
yeah, they helped a lot. But they also like when they leave,
You guys gotta.
we have to
You
figure
have
it
to
out.
figure it out,
And then
yeah.
we have new people come in, and then there's like adjustment again, and then they leave, and then it's like okay, readjust the schedule.
Freddie understands.
No,
So
yeah,
it's a
I get
constant readjustment. And then we got the
we absolutely loved everyone who came by.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
helped out, like,
we
But
love
no,
that they
But
gave.
everybody
We
does
love
things
the help
different.
that they gave.
Yeah.
They helped us. I mean, they taught us things that we didn't know. We didn't know how to bathe a baby. We didn't know, like,
oh, we were terrified.
it was good that they were there.
Hold the head.
Yeah, my mom gave him the first
she
bath because
like-
we were scared to do it. So like they definitely
"Alright."
helped us.
was
Like,
like a pro,
questions
bro.
that we had, they were definitely there. His mom did I love your mom. You know that, and she also like. She made me remember, like, you also have to take care of yourself. Because that was a lot of thing that, like, I would forget. Like, Junior would be like, each day. I'm like, well, I don't have time. Like, when his mom was there, it was like...
Gotta make time
It
for
wasn't do you have time? His mom was like, here, eat, I'll take the baby. So, like, we love everybody that came and helped. But it would make the adjustment so difficult. Because it's like, now you're leaving and I don't have help and I have to figure that all over again.
I think what was the hardest part for me, like when our son came into the picture, was the fact that like you're in charge of somebody else.
Yeah.
Like not just yourself, which I don't know. Like for me, I still feel like I'm about to be 30, and I still feel like a kid. Like honestly, like
You don't feel old, right?
no, not at all. Like I really don't. Like I still feel like a kid.
I'm
at
16
times.
with a kid.
Yeah, like
No, people at work are like, dude, how do you have a kid? I'm like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I asked myself the same
yeah.
thing.
it's just incredible.
Mommy and daddy. No.
The birds and the bees, guys. On the next episode, we'll go full detail. No, like honestly, like it astounds me, like because I don't know, like it just you're in charge of someone else at that point, and
They fully depend on
they
you.
depend on you for everything. Absolutely everything. There's nothing this baby cannot do without your help.
It's like, boy, I don't even know how to take care of myself sometimes. Now I have to
Yes.
learn how to take care of someone else. Like,
Exactly. And so I think that's where, like, I remember I told everyone, like, the first night that we brought him home from the hospital, like, when we were in the hospital, we were there like 2 nights, and I could sleep.
yeah,
I
because
slept.
they were coming in and checking up on us
They were
all
like
the time.
making sure the baby was good, we were good, whatever. I slept.
And if we had like an issue, we'd like call the nurses, like, hey.
Hit that call button.
What do I do?
Yeah. Oh man, do you remember that first night? Like,
the
you
first
almost.
night we were changing his diaper. Did he poop or was it just pee?
He was like,
It was just pee, I think.
no. So like, he pooped himself, and
So
so I was like, I was gonna change his diaper, and then all of a
Then
sudden
he
he
started
starts.
peeing, so like, little boys.
No, but he starts choking.
No,
Remember?
but he started pee.
He starts choking first,
He moved him, was gonna
and
help
then
him.
and then I'm like, oh
Because they
crap.
don't tell you that sometimes they still have fluid in them.
Yeah. So he's choking and he's turning red from the fluid he has in his
Yeah,
lungs.
he can't bring it up.
And so I
we're
was changing
freaking
his
out, and then he
diaper.
starts pissing everywhere. We're like, what? Like, there's just too much happening.
What do you do?
And
It's like the old sprinklers used to hook up to the manguera.
oh, just
Dude, just imagine having a home birth.
exactly.
no,
We
I
didn't.
can't.
We didn't
Yeah.
have.
I can't imagine.
I don't know. Hey, power to y'all.
I know. After I was like, dude, I don't know how Amanda did it.
Bro, we ain't like freaking
Props to
because
her because
Yeah.
like
she's
nothing.
strong. She's a strong woman.
labor. Oh heck. No.
I was like,
It
she's
was
a
bad.
strong woman.
She's-
'Cause,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's insane, bro. Power to y'all. Credit to y'all. Absolutely every single
It's
day of the week.
scary.
We were
Oh,
we
dude.
were terrified that we had all the help, and I remember like,
And
bringing her out.
it was like we had a very smooth.
Oh, absolutely. Like compared to
Delivery.
some people's like
We scheduled
stories.
it. It was smooth.
Freddie's story, Freddie and Amanda's story, is a crazy one.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
And so that was easy. Like looking back, that
Being at
that
the
part
hospital
was that was easy. That was the easy part.
Well, for you,
When we brought him
it wasn't
home,
all easy. But I mean,
when we brought him
because
home,
I don't want to like say it was easy because it wasn't easy.
Was it at
It's
the
not
hospital you
easy
were
on
at?
the person.
Was it at the hospital you were at?
No, it was
In a
It
different
was
one?
the same.
family kind of parent.
The rival hospital.
It was we had to go to a different hospital.
It was the same like system, but like a bigger hospital.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we brought him home the first night, it was terrifying to me. I did not sleep. I swear to God. He was like, we put him down to sleep in his bassinet, and I would hear him kind of make those noises, and I'd be like, I know he's good, but there's that chance that he may not
Is
be
he
good.
pretty?
So I'm like, I have to turn on the lights, go check on him. He's fine.
Yeah.
So then I go back, try to go back to sleep, and I hear him again. I'm like, no, he's fine. He's fine. And I hear him some more. I'm like, I gotta get up. I gotta get up.
You gotta make sure.
I did not sleep that entire first night, like whatsoever.
Freddie set up like 30 cameras around me.
Oh, I feel like if I had the chance, I probably would too. Like whenever he was first born, and then nowadays it's like we try to sleep through everything. Like
As like little.
Because you realize
When he
like
naps-
babies are humans too, so it's kind of like sometimes it's nothing.
Yeah.
But as a parent, you worry 'cause it's like
But also, like, I think it also helps when you think of them as like they're a brand new human. They're experiencing everything for the first time. So what you think is nothing to them is something big. Like they're
Yeah.
like, whoa, that's a light. Like, you know, to you it's like, dude, why are you like?
when you see their,
fussing, you
their
know?
eyes like
whoa. No, it's
It's definitely been an adjustment, and in the beginning it was hard. I think right now what we're struggling with is the sleeping schedule. He
yeah, a
doesn't
little
sleep
bit.
through the night yet, and
It's because we got him used to like sleeping in our arms.
yeah, and he sleeps in the bed with us. Because like sometimes he doesn't even need you to hold him; he just needs you to like touch him. Yeah, like he needs to feel you.
Well, it's hard too because you're probably working at nights or in the day, so you want to spend some time with him or at least see him.
We were talking about because next week he works most of the
So
week.
time out, everyone. Just so everyone is clear on this, I would get blamed
Oh my god.
for.
It's easier.
I would get blamed saying that I was the cause of our babies like not being able to sleep at night. Where
Because he would sleep with him in his chest.
yeah, at night, like at 1 a.m. I was too tired. I didn't,
He didn't
you know.
want to struggle with it,
Yeah, so I let him sleep on my chest, whatever.
and so now he doesn't want to sleep in the bassinet.
Why does he not want to?
And then he brought up a good point that I hold him all day whenever I have him.
So we take him to
He doesn't
daycare.
know the difference between night and day. He just knows I like being in arms because they have me in the arms when I'm sleeping. To justify myself, after he went to daycare, which by the way was really hard transition for me, I always have a guilt. Like, there's always guilt that I'm taking him to daycare. So whenever I pick him up from daycare, I want to hold him as much as I can because I feel like I left you for fucking 10 hours a day. Like, I feel so much guilt doing it because I don't necessarily have to. Like, I can literally be a stay-at-home mom and I choose not to. So there's that guilt of, like, I'm choosing to leave you with strangers. And you know what I mean? Like,
So that's just like a mother instinct.
Yeah, so I feel like I want him on me at all. Like, if he cries, even just a little bit, like, I know it's a fake cry, and I will still pick him up. Like, it's not even like an I need cry, it's more like, oh. And I'm like, all right, like, I'll pick you up. So
He's like, got
that is
her.
why I am like
But
that.
you're a great mother at the end of the day. You
I
are
hope
the best
so.
mom that he could ever like have, honestly.
And the hardest thing for me, like, to juggle work and him, it's it's planning. Like, I was not a planner. I'm a planner in my field of work, but I'm not a planner at home. Like, we were very, like,
Go with the
one day
flow.
we wake up, like, fuck it, let's go here, you know? It's this, like, and I told him, like, that's the hardest thing for me. It's sitting down and thinking, like, okay, I need to pack his stuff for tomorrow. I need to figure out what I'm going to wear tomorrow. Who the fuck? I was never that person that was going to figure out what I was going to wear the next day because I would wake up and
Skill.
go with the flow. And it's like this whole planning. Like, you have to plan absolutely everything because you don't want to forget anything because now you have someone who, if you forget something, they're not going to be patient because they don't know what that is.
Dude, no, people don't realize that.
He's like,
We go
Don't you
home.
think? And I'm like, I just don't want to
Miss anything.
because it's not like us where it's like, oh, we'll just stop at the store. We'll be patient, you know?
Well, I
He's
don't
not
have babies
patient.
yet, but I got 5 dogs, so I understand.
You still have a shit ton of
You
stuff.
still got a lot of planning to do as far as like that's concerned.
It's
not the same.
But it's been amazing. We've
Yeah.
loved every minute of it.
It's-
Like, it's
Tough sometimes, and you're always sleep deprived, but like your doctor friend told you.
There's a good friend of mine, like a coworker. As I was getting ready, like I told him, like he's one of my coworkers. I was just like, you know, I'm kind of scared about being like a dad and being in this job. And
You know what's awesome though?
it-
It shows that you care.
yeah. And so it was like I was talking with him one night because he only worked exclusively nights. He's like, man, the only reason why I work nights is like so I can spend more time with my kids
In the day.
in the day. He's like, and the biggest thing, like, I'll tell you about this. His name is Michael Van Dyne, one of the best people I've ever known. He was like, if your kid asks you to do something, just do it. Even if you're tired, just do it. Doesn't matter, because it's not like you're gonna be exhausted, but it's something they're gonna hold for the rest of their life. And it hit me because like I never had that growing up. As far as like, I love my dad to death, but it was different. Our dynamic growing up, he wasn't.
Was he always working?
Yeah, he was always working. He was there financially, every step of the way. I never missed a meal. I never missed a roof over my head. But when I needed him to come for picture days, when I needed him to be there for my school recitals, when I needed him to be there for me, like to teach me like how to be a man and like
To show
like,
up. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
And I feel like that's a lot of Mexican dads.
Yeah.
Like,
Man, I was about to
they
say
get caught up
because
on
we
this,
feel
I
like
need
we're
to
in the
provide.
same
Yeah.
same boat. And actually, me and my wife were talking about this the other day. She goes, "Do you feel like you hold yourself back from your own gratitude because they haven't told you yet?" In other words, do you feel like you're just searching for it because no one's told you yet? And I was like, well, the way I see it is I didn't expect that from my parents, so I don't expect it from nobody else. But that's my mindset because, I mean, I know they love me because they showed it another way for working and doing all that. Like you said, putting the roof over your heads and all that. But it's one of those where it's like, yeah, you miss those moments where it's like, I wish you taught me how to fish. I wish you taught me how to hunt. I wish you taught me how to do this. You know what I mean?
You just spend time.
But
with
Yeah,
it.
spend
I like what you said. Like, teach you how to be a man, because like people make fun of me because sometimes I'm soft, but I'm like I grew up with 3 sisters. Like I'm the only guy, and like my mom was my rock because my dad was always like I'm a big mama's boy, you know.
Me too, man. And that's
It's always working. It's always working.
She always mentioned that, like her dad, literally, you know, before he passed away and everything, she had talked to him. You know, she asked him like, "What?"
Because we were getting serious and stuff, and we had talked about like our future and like where we were going, right? And I remember I told my dad like, "Am I missing something?" Because you know, like when you're in a relationship, sometimes you don't
You just get
see the
clouded.
bad stuff because you're so into the relationship. Yeah. And I was like, "Am I missing something? Like, is this a good person, or am I just blindsided? You know, because I'm just in the relationship. You don't see outside looking in." And I remember my dad was like, "You know, he's a really good guy. I really like this guy." He's like, "The only thing I will tell you is he's a mama's boy." My dad didn't know him for very long either. He only had met you a couple of times, I think, and he was like, he's mama's boy.
I feel like you can tell.
Yeah.
You know?
And I was like, is that a bad thing? He's like, that's up to you to decide, like, whether or
Because
not.
then that's gonna make him. You're his 110%.
And that's where, like, exactly like what you said. Like, my mom, like, essentially, like, was my father figure for a while and was my mother figure. Like, and obviously I found father figures, like I tell her all the time. Like, I found father figures in friends and people who were a little bit older, co-workers, everywhere else. And, you know, again, no disrespect to my dad, nothing like that, because he did everything he knew.
They did what they knew,
Yeah.
they did what they could.
And that's how he grew up, and he did everything like that, and I have no regrets over it. And I know we butted heads growing up, but I still love my dad wholeheartedly. Yeah. I thank him for everything he's done, because I wouldn't be here without him. But, you know, that's something I want to do different with my kid, and I've told her that from the very beginning that, you know,
You want to be there.
I want to be there for those moments. I want to be there for him. I want him to be able to grow up and say, like, you know, I can talk to my dad. I know I can come talk to him and he's not going to be mad or upset that I even ask him about something, you know, and I want to do things differently and just say, like, at the end of the day, like, not only was he my dad, but he was also my friend and I could come to him.
You can confide in him.
Yeah.
Because, like, I feel like I couldn't go to my dad.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, but sometimes I couldn't feel like I could go to my mom. It was always my friends or my friends' dads, or like I just felt like they could relate better.
Absolutely. And like I told Belle, like, there's a lot of, you remember Mario?
Yeah.
Like, he was one of my friends that I grew up with. I got kind of involved with him because, like, I was young playing soccer. He was like, I think he's like, sorry, Mario, if I mess up your age. He's like 5 or 6 years older than me. But they took me in and wanted me to come play soccer with them, but they were like father figures to me. And like, I was like 14, 15 years old, and I started hanging out with them, and I thought they were really cool, like, at the time, and I still think they're super cool. Like, and it was just like, I grew up with them, and they were also my father figures, like, growing up, teaching me about, like, things to do and, like, how to become a man and kind of, you know, even though they never knew that, like, growing up, like, I tell them nowadays, and it's just like a moment we share, like, dude, y'all are my older brothers.
Crazy though, cause like I kind of like it's kind of similar. Like I for some reason I would always gravitate towards the older crowd.
Yeah,
And
that was
You
me.
were looking for that.
I think I didn't even know that until you said it right now.
Yeah, like, you never know that, but there's something that's kind of like,
You're searching for, and you don't even realize that you're doing it.
You just made me realize that, and it's kind of like, but I'm also grateful for it because now I know a lot more than other people our age.
yeah,
And I feel like the same thing with you, like Belle said earlier, like you pay attention to how somebody does something. I'm the exact same way. You're the exact same way. Like we see how a person talks, how a person looks at somebody, how they say a certain thing, but because I feel like everything has a meaning, like in some way, shape, or form.
Definitely.
Even if it's nothing, deep down there's something.
Yeah. And me, like, I guess meeting a whole bunch of people, just by seeing them, I know something's up or something's going on, and like just by looking at you, I could tell. Yeah.
And Neff has like this weird sixth sense,
Yeah, he does.
like, where he could always
Every
tell.
time something has happened, Neff has texted, "Are y'all okay?" And we're just like, "What? Did you text him? No, did you text him? Like, what the fuck? Like, how does he know?" He just,
Any major moment in our lives, like, Neff is known for some reason, like, sixth sense, and it's insane.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to, like, make sure you guys know, because before we move on, like, major props to you, and I'm pretty sure you in the future, when you have your own kids, because of what you guys have seen and been through. Like, it makes you guys the best fathers. Like, he comes home at 2 a.m. and he still, like, takes him and, like, I'm like, dude, like, you worked a 12-hour shift, like, but you should be sleeping. And he's like, no, I haven't seen him all day. Like, I want to spend time with him. And I think
I can relate to you a lot, man, because like I want to be the dad I didn't have.
exactly.
But
And
my
that's
dad
what-
was there.
And it makes you guys amazing fathers, and your kids are gonna appreciate it. And like I said, you don't have kids yet, but I know when you do, you're gonna be just right there with them.
Carol, get started.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks,
No.
Belle. You gotta show him in the camera now.
There you go. Shot.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, thank you for that.
Yeah.
It definitely makes everything that we do
Yeah, worth it.
worth it. And so, You know, I know at the end of the day, like, we don't need to hear those things, but it does.
No, y'all
it's
do
feel-
need to hear that. That's the thing. Like, I feel like we grew up in a. You guys don't need to hear anything. Like you said,
Yeah.
you didn't get that validation from your parents. You do need to hear that, and I think it's okay for y'all to hear that on a daily basis. Like, why wouldn't you guys feel good hearing that?
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be something that you shy away from.
I guess it's just weird because
Yeah.
like
It
we're
does
not
feel
used to
weird.
it.
Yeah, it's
So like when we hear it, it kind of like even at work, somebody will tell me something good, and I'm like, I want to cry, like because nobody
Honestly.
tells me like, hey, you're doing a good job, and when I do get that, I'm like,
It's like you're just expected
Like,
to do
you
good
know?
all
No,
the time.
honestly,
You know what I
like,
mean?
it does feel that way. Like I tell her, like,
Like-
it's just like one of those things where it's like, I think that's why I tried so hard, like growing up. Like honestly, like, cause I didn't get it from my folks, so I looked for it in other places, and my mom was like, dude, you were such an angel at school, but you're at the house, like you're such an asshole. And I was like, I don't know, like I got that something, I guess, like the teacher would tell me, oh, you're doing great, your grades are good and all these things. So it made me want to like try harder, you know, like, I don't know, but you know, it truly means a lot to know that, you know, that we are trying to, both of us, like, and not only that, but all the dads out there who want to be
Trying to be
involved
involved.
and do those things.
Yeah,
Trust me.
because nowadays, honestly, that's one of the hard things for a lot of dads to do now is just be involved. And sometimes it's not their fault because the economy is changing, jobs are crazier, so sometimes you just got to put in more hours. But sometimes, like you said, even taking the hour out of your day just to be with your kids and get that one-on-one time, because like we said in the way beginning, just showing up is not enough.
you gotta be involved.
You
That's
gotta
the
be
biggest one.
involved, and trust me, they will remember. I remember every moment that my mom, exhausted as she would still show up to ceremonies. She would still be there. She'd stay up till 12 in the morning with me working on projects. Like, who does that if you don't show you care? So it's like one of those things that, you know, like they're gonna remember. We remember. They're gonna remember, I promise you. And it will make you a better person. It will make you a better person in their life. And I promise you, it will impact them and it will make a difference.
So that means like, I think the way our parents or the way we were raised has a lot to do with the people we are.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
definitely.
So like, you know, touching on that subject, it's kind of like, I feel like we're all go-getters, all of us. Like we always want more, we always want to be better, but I never regret how I was raised. And I know that's not what we're saying. Like I feel like we're so grateful to our parents, to our environment, to the communities, to the places that we came from, because I'm telling you, like later on, 20, 30 years from now, we are gonna be like what they said, like every generation or every person, there's always one person in the family that breaks that curse. And I feel like we are it. Like, I don't know how to explain it.
There's also like a weird, at least like, you know how you had asked him earlier, like what got you through college? There's, for me, it was like a weird pressure of like, my parents don't have a retirement, so I have to be that person for them in the future. So like, there's this weird, like, I love y'all, I do, but you also feel all this pressure that comes with it. It's not just like,
I get
sunshine
it.
and rain. Like, as much as I love the way I grew up and I love my family, there's also that pressure of like,
It's up to
that's
you.
gonna come not only to me but to my sisters, and we're gonna have to figure that out, which makes it harder because we're already starting back here, and then that brings us back a little bit more. So it's like there's always pressure. So it's like you have to be a go-getter, whether you like it or not, because who else is gonna do it? There's nobody else. Like it's just you, and your parents are gonna rely on you in the future. That's
Because we've talked about it on other podcasts. Because like the first house that my wife and I bought, that Amanda and I bought, it wasn't for us. It was for
Yeah.
my parents. But I didn't have a house to grow up in. I grew up in Section 8 housing. Like I grew up in HUD, but to me that was normal. Like
Yeah.
I thought that was I didn't. I had a great childhood.
Yeah.
But now it's just like exactly what Belle said. I feel responsible for my parents. That's why I can't relate to people in school, because their parents did everything for them.
yeah.
It was the other way for me. I had to be the translator because my parents only talk Spanish. I had to be the ones that had to put like money away for them or figure stuff out with the bank
Or help your sisters out with their paperwork
Everything.
and all that.
Or
Yeah.
even do taxes and stuff like that.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
It's like, bro, like I'm 18 years
should be
old. Like,
teaching me
or I
that.
was doing taxes like with my folks at 15 years old. Like, what? Like, who? Like, you know, like what 15-year-old is doing that like nowadays? Like, it's just it's a different lifestyle for us, and it's like you said, like we're go-getters, but
We had to grow up fast. That's why.
we did. And you always have the decision in life, like,
And I feel like
a lot of people have these same like situations, and there's a right, like you're a go-getter, or you can let it consume you.
There's two ways that you've seen that.
And you can like let it consume you and blame it all on that and never do nothing with your life. And you have that decision and you have the capabilities. So, you know, we just ended up choosing the side that's like,
Fuck it, we're gonna do it. Like
nobody else is gonna do it for us, so we got to do it.
We got to do it.
I just want to give Junior a hug.
I just cannot believe that you guys went out. Okay, so for anyone out there,
This is great to mention, though.
Yeah.
I know where you're going with this.
we were my freshman year. I lived in the newest dorms available on A&M.
which us cheapos were always in because our dorms didn't have shit.
Walton, I love you, but come on.
So I was in the newest dorms, and I was always like hanging out downstairs.
Hullabaloo.
Hullabaloo. So Hullabaloo crew. I never ever once. I would always see like there was a group of people always downstairs at the ping pong tables, always just
That was
messing
us.
around, fucking around, just playing around.
Ping pong.
And I swear to God, I at that time I didn't think they ever lived there. They were just hanging out there.
He's like, man, these people just
We were there all the time.
Always, like it didn't matter.
No, because we had one person like, hey, are you there? Like,
Yeah.
we had to get that spot.
every night they were there.
Yeah, we didn't let anybody else use that shit.
Every time. And I cannot believe it. Like I never once met them, and I lived at the same dorms, and they were always
Dude,
there.
that's because I remember you on your laptop.
Yeah.
Like in the laundry room. Like,
Oh yeah.
In the laundry room.
yeah, he was just, because he was always there.
You
Like, with
was.
nobody.
pictures to see we were to like see him in
I
the
did.
background.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Oh, I
You
did.
You
I found it.
him?
I need to go back. I found him.
Yeah.
It's crazy how like we never crossed. Well, we crossed paths, but we never.
We never
Talked.
interacted.
Yeah.
But we had the same friends, or
Oh, yeah.
like mutual friends.
Well, because when I met him, he was like, "Oh, I know Jimmy," and I was like, "Wait, you know Jimmy? Like what?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and it was one of those
Like
things
how
like
close we were, but not.
Not
really.
close, yeah.
it just astounds me. Like it didn't happen until like 5-6 years later that I ended up like, you know, actually coming into contact with y'all and like, now look,
And only because I liked you enough.
enough. It's still
It's like only because I like the stuff you picked at the grocery store.
What did you pick at the grocery store?
She
Condoms.
kept my salmon.
Condoms.
No, she kept my salmon so she could like follow
what
up a
his story
second
is.
date, and then after that the spark flourished.
Which is
and-
bullshit because then he went to go pick up the salmon, got all dressed up thinking I was gonna invite him up to my apartment. And instead I brought him down the salmon. I was like, here you go, bye.
She said
Well, I was
veto.
perfumed up, ready to get
I
down.
can make you dinner. I was like, no, it's okay.
She's like, now my house is gonna smell like fish.
And now look at her.
So I didn't keep his salmon because I kept your salmon for that reason. I would have said yes to dinner.
She was just plain hard to get to, bro.
I was playing hard to get.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, he could have had a doctor. He passed up a doctor
I
for
did try.
dry ass messages.
I did.
Dang.
I did at that time.
I was like, boy, what did you do? Like, you
I
passed up a
did.
doctor. You could have been. I was like, you could have been a sugar daddy or not? No, you could have had
Sugar
sugar
baby.
mama. And
School would
you
have been
let
paid
go for a
for.
dry,
School would have
dry
been paid
message.
Okay. I'm happy where I'm at. But yeah, good times.
Oh, well, I guess we'll go and finish this podcast or this episode with Bell and Junior. Thank you guys for being with us. Appreciate everybody for tuning in with us this time. Please like, subscribe, share. We'll see you on the next one.